Hi everyone. Today I wanted to share with you my first experience at shooting fireworks. I've been shooting for 8 or 9 years now, and it's like, I can't believe I don't have any fireworks in my portfolio. I watched a few videos online, kind of get a feel for what the settings might be and things like that. So, yeah, I had a lot of problems. So I wanted to share with you some of the challenges I ran into, and then the final results, and then a short video clip of the fireworks themselves. All right, so let's first talk about some of the basic logistical type problems I had. Is we were about a mile away, I'd say, from the actual place where they were shooting the fireworks off. So I figured, 75 to 300 would be more than wide enough at 75 millimeters. And if I wanted to punch in, I got that 300 millimeter zoom. And It was nowhere near wide enough. I feel like anywhere between 25 and 50 millimeters would have been just fine from that distance. Uh, and I'm speaking in micro four thirds terms, the double that for full frame. The other problem I ran into is, there was only a few of us there, but we were really cramped in pretty tight. So my tripod got bumped a few times, and a few of the shots have some jitters in them with the long exposures. So that, I lost a few shots that way. And then finally were the fireworks themselves. You don't have a lot of time. They were only shooting the fireworks off for 15 minutes. And, I'm not a sports action type guy. And it's, and fireworks is very similar to sports and action, right? They just kind of shoot up bursts and then they dissipate very quickly. And then right after that, there's another one. So there was a conflict there of long exposure type photography versus trying to do a sports action type photography, at least in my mind. And this is just because of my lack of experience in shooting fireworks, because I went online before I went out and said, okay, let's see what settings people are using. And I was seeing like, FA8 for 5 seconds at ISO 160, and plus or minus from there. So let's take a look at some of the images I took and some of the challenges I ran into processing. All right, so the first shot I took was basically to make sure I could acquire focus. It's underexposed, but that's not important. And then I punched in the viewfinder and I saw that, yeah, I definitely was able to acquire focus on the mansion. And then I did a long exposure shot, 60 seconds at ISO 200, and it's still a little bit too dark, but fortunately I was shooting raw, so I was able to recover most of this without any issue. But 60 seconds at ISO 200. I think maybe 45 seconds at ISO 400 would have been better. But anyhow, that's what I got. And then I started the 6-second exposures using live composite. So I set it to 6 seconds for the initial shot or initial exposure, and then live composite then started building the images from there. And yeah, you can see that there's just too much stuff going on. There's a lot of smoke that the live composite captured, which I didn't like too much. And then 6 seconds overexposed the fireworks themselves. So this didn't come out too well. But I did like this one at 6 seconds. So even though the smoke is a little bit blurred and kind of blotchy looking, the fireworks themselves I thought were pretty attractive. So let's look at these two shots side by side. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to export these into Photoshop as layers, blend them together, then bring it back into Lightroom. And before I do that though, I want to adjust these images and get them as close as possible to match each other in terms of exposure, because there's going to be some overlap obviously in a composite. But, and also I want to get them to look pretty close to how I want each piece to look when I'm done. So let's select this first one and develop this one. And I'll just start with auto. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit of straightening, like so. And let's back off some of the color. Add a little bit of dehaze. All right, very good. Now, I want to darken the sky a little bit because in the fireworks sky, it's very dark. So I want to darken the sky on this one. So I'll just use a brush to do that. Let's go down 2 stops and see how that looks. Yeah, that's better. Maybe up in here, a little bit over there. And I'm going to darken it a little more. There, not bad. Get rid of some of the halo kind of looking stuff going. All right, good. Let's go to the fireworks image. And this one I need to brighten up a little bit. So let me just do a global adjustment. Well, let me see what auto does. Ooh, that's okay. Let's just do a global. Yeah. Now this is about the same brightness as the mansion image that we did first. And then I'm going to try and brighten up these trees a little. Let's go +2 stops or 3. And yeah, there's a lot of noise in here because these were pretty much pitch black, but it's okay. I'm going to overlap as much as I can. Ooh, I don't want to get too much sky. And that's about the best I can do there. Maybe do a little bit of sharpening. Let's see, there's some noise reduction already. I'm going to back that off. Just to about there. Let's mask some of the sharpening. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and compare these again. And now this brightness or luminance is about the same as over here. So I think these should overlap pretty nicely. Let's go ahead and export these into Photoshop. So now that I have these two selected, I just right click and edit in Photoshop, open as layers. All right, now in Photoshop, you can see that we've loaded them in as layers. I'm going to move the mansion down to make that the first layer. And then let me reduce the opacity of the top layers so we can line these up like so. And let's move this out of the way. We'll move this down to about here. All right, that's pretty close. Okay, let's bring the opacity back up and see how we did. All right, good. Now, I'm going to increase the canvas size so that we can see everything at one. And I'm just going to guesstimate 8,000 by 8,000. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and start to blend these. And I'm going to add a mask to the fireworks layer. Go back to my brush. And we have a black brush, so let's see what happens. Yeah. See this hard line right here? And then I'm just going to very slowly go up in here. Oops, too much. I didn't line these up perfectly. It's okay. Oops. Yeah, see the softness of the brush is bleeding over. But we can fix that. I think that looks good. Now, let's go ahead and fix that with a black brush. Make my brush a little smaller. All right, very good. And I think that's the pretty much the final image. Let's bring it back in the Lightroom and do some final touches. So we'll save that. All right, here's the image in Lightroom. Let's go ahead and crop it to a nice square. like so. Keep as much as we can in the frame. And I don't know, we can maybe just do a little bit of clarity, a little dehaze. I'm going to back off the color, and then I'm just going to brush in just a little bit more light. Let's do a shadow adjustment like this here on the foreground. A little bit more exposure. And here, a little bit on the trees. And we'll add some magenta. Cool it off a little bit. All right. And there you have it. Now, I'm no Photoshop or Lightroom expert, and I'm sure a lot of you know how to do this like 1,000 times better in much easier way. But this is sort of my first experience, and I just wanted to share with you. So thanks for watching. If you like these kind of videos, you know, consider hitting the like button, subscribing, maybe buy me a coffee. But either way, thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Messing it up.